Good afternoon. Michelle Rowland here, your Attorney General, and I'm here to provide some clarity on our new legislation. Now, this bill is about ensuring that our investigative agencies like the AFP and ASIO have the ability to implement provisions that enable them to address the root causes of conduct that may or may not fall within the scope of what we are seeking to achieve, depending on other factors. I want to be very clear about that. What we have done is introduce a tight set of laws that are capable of interpretation, not only by a court, but also by our agencies. And that is important because interpretation is how laws are implemented by agencies who interpret them in order to implement them. Now, some provisions have changed in response to negotiations with the opposition and also in response to other provisions which themselves were provisions, but they still represent what we are seeking to bring within this regime in terms of keeping Australians safe from the things that this bill addresses before they were negotiated into different provisions, which are now the new provisions that we have. Look, I'll be reluctant to be naming specific kinds of conduct or indeed general kinds of conduct or conduct of any kind, but what I can say is that there are a number of factors that would need to be satisfied in conjunction with certain aspects of state laws dealing with racial vilification, which may or may not have been met, depending on the evidence gathered by the agencies. The point I would make is this, and I think this is an important point. Whilst these matters are complex, they're also not complex, and of that we have been clear from the outset about the scope of the clarity and the kinds of groups that we are seeking to address at their root causes. So to summarise, the provisions are provisions, the agencies will implement them and the courts will interpret them, and Australians will be kept safe from the things that this bill addresses, which are outlined in the bill. It's really very straightforward. Look, if you don't understand the law, you are less likely to break it. That's not legal advice. No, that is clarity.